I knew that would happen. I click live, it hangs for about 15 seconds. So I thought, you know what? I'm going to take a sip of tea and see what happens. And of course, it goes live just as I slurp in your ear. So, hello, hello, hello. Just in case you are catching this live, I'm currently streaming on Facebook, on YouTube. This will show up on LinkedIn. And where else am I streaming? Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn. And it might show up in some other places too. But here goes. It's a late one tonight. I have had a busier than expected day in a good way. And I wanted to talk a little bit about motivation. Now, I know it's a Monday at the time of recording this. If you're watching this live, this isn't something that you can only do on a Monday, only for Monday motivation. But I wanted to share it with you because I have had, I want to say, a blissfully busy day. You know, the sorts of days where you're doing stuff that you love virtually every minute of the day. Apart from, I had some coaching calls on Mondays. And I know you shouldn't, like children, you shouldn't have favorite clients, but one of my favorite clients, and we now do our calls every other week. So I didn't speak to them this week. And that's okay. I'm glad they're out in the world doing what they do. And I filled the time quite nicely with other things. But yeah, it feels like it's been a blissfully busy day. I'm going to take another sip of tea. And Monday, and the fact that motivation for a lot of people, because it's the start of the week, it's a clean sheet, it's a brand new kind of clean slate. And many people, they want to forget about the things that they'd rather forget about and start afresh, like turn over a new leaf. And I like to actually start that process on a Sunday, but that's another topic for another time. So what am I talking about? A motivational menu or motivation menu? What are you talking about, Jenny? So first of all, I have been talking about visibility now for 14 years. As that comes out of my mouth, I can't quite believe it, because if that was a child, that would be like a teenager by now. We might be tussling and having a difference of opinion. But thankfully, me and my teenage business are still madly kind of in sync with each other, and we don't argue much. We don't argue. So today I wanted to talk about the importance of a motivation menu. What is a motivation menu? Why does it matter? Now, the reason that I just segued into the fact that I've been doing this for 14 years is because people often think that motivation is like somebody standing over your shoulder or in your ear shouting, go, 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 you know, like Mr. Motivator, for those of you who are of an age to remember the reference, when actually in businesses, whether you're an employee or whether you're self-employed, whether you're running the show, whether you're the founder or the CEO or the managing director, there is a certain amount of motivation that can be kind of, I guess, attained from outside and around you. But there's a lot of it. In order to get going, in order to keep going, in order to keep going when it feels like, am I going down the wrong path? Are we going down the wrong track? Am I leading people in the wrong direction? Actually takes a fair bit of like chutzpah, I guess. So I wanted to talk about this and how we can make a motivational menu, one that isn't just for a Monday, one that is for any day of the week, and those times, especially when we don't feel like it, the times when things feel too tough, times when you feel like throwing the towel in, and the times where you're like, I'm all right, what about everyone else? So as it says on there, my name is Jenny Kovacs. I'm a visibility queen, known as the queen of being seen. And actually, the reason that I'm passionate about visibility is to have other people seen. At some point today, I posted something that said that visibility was basically not about me being great. It was about you seeing how great you are. And I mean that with every fiber of my being. So if you've watched this thinking the queen of being seen is going to be talking about how she's seen, where she's seen, and everything else, you might be sorely disappointed. But if you watch this maybe for the first time or another time because you think, oh, I quite like what she has to say, you'll be very pleased to know I'm going to share some ideas and some thoughts around visibility. I'm going to share some ideas and some thoughts around motivating ourselves to do it, because I think that's the biggest thing. I've often seen people either in groups or, by themselves, who are looking to be more visible, and they start off with this momentum. Maybe they start off and they're okay, and then slowly it kind of dies down, it trickles, it falls away. And there are very specific reasons for this, even for people who are comfortable with being visible, even for people who are confident at being visible. It happens to us all. So there are three things to think about when you are being visible. And if you've listened to my work for any length of time, you would have heard me say or talk about these three things before, but I'm going to put them to you in a different way so that you can build your own motivation menu. Now, I could literally do a whole day on this, a whole 3-day on motivation, the things that kind of trigger us to be motivated, to know whereabouts, if we're more of a going to person or getting away from person, to look at how active we are. And there's this quite, it's not necessarily a myth, but an untruth that says that people that are going for it, that are extroverted, that are always out there, that like speaking, that like putting on a show, that they will do better at being visible than those who don't. And that's actually not true. Like I say, whole topic for another time. So how do you get to the space of being visible? Why does it matter? And what is the motivational menu that helps you to be visible? So a motivational menu is a way that you can keep going, keep putting yourself out there, no matter what, like no matter what. Even when times are tough, even when you've got a lot on, even when you're spinning plates, even when the kids are on half term, even when you're not feeling 100%, even when somebody's really irked you, even when somebody's copied your work, even when somebody's not performing in the way that they should, even when your manager won't sit down and have a performance review with you, you can't seem to pin them down, even when you think the managing director doesn't like you, even when you think you could do a better job than the boss, all of those things do affect people in some way. And I'm not saying be robotic and don't be a human and just get on with it. That's not what I'm saying at all. But what I am saying is there are times that even when these things are happening, it's still important to keep going. So the first thing is getting your head sorted out. Now, why am I even talking about this? This is the eve before Iconic starts. I'm very excited about Iconic because the people who have said yes to Iconic have let themselves in for an absolute treat. They are, I hope, but I think they will be blown away by what we're going to cover over the next 6 weeks, what we're going to do together over the next 6 weeks, and how I'm going to roll my sleeves up and get my, not hands dirty, my arms and elbows in there to be able to partner with them while we do this or make this Iconic journey. And as part of that, it's meant over the last few weeks, as well as talking about it and promoting it, I've done a few things. I bizarrely took on a challenge last week that between last week and this week that I would post 100 times. I would share 100 times. And this afternoon, as I was like, oh my gosh, I need to do this 4 more times, I realized that I didn't write down a whole chunk of things that I did. How can I forget that? I think I was so busy putting my stuff out there, responding to comments, inquiries, questions, and commenting and engaging with people, that there were chunks of things that I forgot to put through, which actually pleased me. Is it something I would recommend for everybody? I would wholeheartedly say absolutely no, because it isn't for everybody. It will work for some people and some businesses, but I digress. With all that content, and a lot of that content that I created was brand spanking new. Some of it were like came from a couple of paragraphs or two from something else, but a majority of it was brand spanking new. Over 100 pieces of content, video, written, posts, all sorts of things, emails, in just 8 days. That's over 12 pieces a day. It's actually 12 and a quarter pieces a day. So what did I learn from that? I learned more than ever, because in between all of that, I was still kind of looking at the pieces that I'm going to share in Iconic. And one of those pieces is around this notion that there's always things to do. Now, there are always things to do, but it doesn't mean that you have to do them. I started off this live stream talking about how busy I've been, which sounds like a badge of honor, but how blissfully busy I've been. Creating talks. I've got a talk that's coming up very soon. So creating talks and bespoking it for companies, for their employees, for their talent. I absolutely love to do it. Absolutely love it. I don't mind if it's filled with people from the post room. I don't mind if it's filled with PAs. I don't mind if it's filled with CEOs. I love being able to help give people the tools that can affect how they move forward. So I've been doing a bit of that, and I've got some other things for, is it next month now? Yeah, next month and later on this month too. And on top of that, getting the iconic stuff ready and looking at, well, what do I do when I'm pushing water uphill? What do I do when I'm dealing with clients? You know, what if they are the CEO? They can't just go and have a bath in the middle of the day and decide just to sign off. They've got to be at work. How do they cope with the pressure? How does somebody cope when they've got somebody on their team that's really resisting their leadership style and rocking the boat for, you know, a lot of other people within the organization? How do you navigate it when you are a solo business and you have got your own deadlines to meet and you're feeling stressed? Maybe you're procrastinating, or maybe you're just overwhelmed. Maybe you're feeling a bit of imposter syndrome and you need a motivational menu to keep going, especially to keep visible and just to keep going and doing the thing that you need to do. And one of the things that I've put together for the icons, they're vibers, but they're icons as well. That's what they're going to be called. I think they're going to absolutely hate that, but they really are. They do some brilliant stuff. I'm so excited. But what do you do as an icon, or as a person with an iconic message, an iconic brand, iconic work, aspiring to be an icon? I'm going to take some tea before I start coughing again. What do you do when it all just feels too much? So today I was looking at what are the things that I've used over the years. So the frame is things like when you know you need to let go of something and you just can't seem to. Maybe there's a bit of anger there. Maybe you are rattled and you just need to decompress. I'm not talking about nervous system regulation. I'm talking about when you just can't let go of something. What if you need self-motivation? What if you need to sit and write the talk or write the blog or write the content and your mind starts thinking about the fact that you might need to go to the shops, or what you're going to have for dinner tonight, or the dog needs to go for a walk, or you suddenly find yourself playing, I don't know, solitaire or something like that. What do you do in terms of headspace when that happens? What can you do? So I've put together a menu of about 11 different things, all sorts of things, from meditations to things to relax. And these are from like 45 seconds to one of them's over an hour, you know, but they're things that you can kind of pick and choose for when you need them. So the first thing, of course, to put your motivational menu together is to think about, like, before the event, what happens if I need headspace? What happens if I need to sort my head out? Now, if you know, for example, you're prone to a bit of anger and going from 0 to 60 for no reason, know that about yourself and commit to doing something about it, because it's not always nice for people to be around that. However, if you know you're prone to that, then why not think about what you're going to do next time that happens or before that happens? Get your tools together. It's like knowing that you have to eat and drink every day and being surprised that there's no food in the kitchen, you know? So think about what you're going to do. The next thing is, think about what fuels you, what you're passionate about. It's all well and good listening to motivational talks and speeches and other people, but if you know what fuels you, what loosens you up, what gets you passionate about the stuff you do, then you can go to it. It might be reading a book, it might be having some sort of experience like walking outside in nature, walking in the rain. It could be sitting in a bath and soaking in the bath for hours on end. Not that, you know, that's not one of my favorite things to do. It could be singing. it was funny because about an hour ago, a song came into my head and I can't remember the artist. I will remember it at some point. It goes something like, first time I laid my eyes on you, you were like a star in the night. Heaven must have sent you down. You were shining so bright. But I can't remember the artist. So if any of you hear that and you're not like in fits of giggles laughing at my singing, then let me know. I have a small group of friends who we kind of message each other and say, la 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 la. Do you know what that song is? So if you're one of those friends, please put me out of my misery. I know it will come back to me, but it's a kind of a 90s dance tune. I love 90s dance music. I like a lot of very diverse taste in music. So I know that about myself. I know that certain music can get me into the kind of like the groove, can remind me of a passion. I watched something recently and they had a lot of music throughout it. And even though the music was for the thing I was watching, at every tune I was like, oh my gosh, I remember this. I was in this place. Oh, I was doing this. Oh, I worked here. Oh, that was when this thing happened. So music can actually connect us to our passion, but that's not it for some people. Some people prefer something else. Whatever it is, connect with what has you like your heart leaping and feeling happy. And then it's nice to have the fact that you've got your head sorted out. It's nice to have the passion. It's also nice to believe in a little bit of magic. I think it's nice to plan and leave room for magic, but you can't rely on that alone. So what are you going to do in practical terms? Now, this is often the most difficult thing to say to someone when they feel like nothing's going right, nothing's going my way, things aren't working anymore. Often that's feedback. There is no such thing as failure, only feedback. And that feedback is there to show you that something needs to be taken care of. But when we're so busy trying to anesthetize ourselves, trying to placate our feelings, then we don't ever see or get to look at what that thing is. So don't be afraid of that. Have a look at what it's trying to show you, what it's trying to teach you, what it's trying to tell you. Once you've done that, you've got a course of action. Is it that you need another income stream in your business? Is it that you need to upskill more at work? And they're not going to pay for you to do that. So you need to take matter into your own hands. Is it that there are different books that you could read? Is it that you could spend your time differently? And as much as you love binging Netflix, you could really use with spending an hour or two kind of reading or listening or watching or podcast, listening to and filling up your bucket, so to speak, in terms of absorbing information that's going to be more useful to you. So is it that head, heart and hands? So here are some ideas to think about. Some ideas to think about when you're putting your motivational menu is, are you better off doing things alone to get motivated and then putting it out there and maybe having people around you to keep you accountable? Is it the other way around? Better to get motivated with people, but then when it comes to the doing and executing, that you just prefer to get on with it by yourself? Is it that there are times where you do feel overwhelmed quite a bit throughout the day, so you need to build in buffers, almost like white space and breaks, to be able to do that? And when I say that, sometimes those buffers and white space are literally like 60 seconds. Now, I know that sounds interestingly strange, but I do remember years ago I was speaking at a retreat and somebody there was also sharing a session on meditation, and she took us through a kind of a bit of a, I think it was transcendental medication meditation, I think it was, but it was 7 minutes by the time we kind of went through this exercise. And you know what? When we opened our eyes, we all felt like we'd been meditating for over an hour. We felt properly reset. A few years ago, I shared something when I was on holiday on Facebook, and friends had said, oh my gosh, somebody actually messaged me and said, I got the best night's sleep that I had for a long time. That video was like a couple of minutes long. Sometimes it's a 45-second video. Why do you think Reels and TikTok have, taken off so much. Yes, we know that there's a dancing and pointing, but there's sometimes little educational bits and pieces. But those short, sharp pieces of information actually can help. Short, sharp pieces of respite can help us too. So think about what soothes you. Even when I talk about meditation, some people say, "Oh, I can't do that. I can't clear my mind." Well, imagine me trying to clear my mind. It could be that what you do is you just need words to listen to. It could be that you need to not listen to anything. You need to sit in silence. Maybe the only sound you want to hear is your bare feet on the pebbles by the beach or on the sand or swishing through the ocean or the sound of the wind blowing through your hair as you walk through the woods. Knowing what moves you, what motivates you, and being able to start to pull those things together before you need them is what makes a difference. And as well as through the Iconic program, I've got some other really cool things coming up. Confidence on camera for those of you who really want to get out there and be on camera. And just one thing about that, actually, when I say confidence on camera, some people aren't confident on camera. That's okay. Some of you are, but you put videos out there and don't really notice any difference. That means that you likely need confidence on camera because it can up level your connection with the audience, your engagement with the audience, and how people resonate or not with you. I see a lot of people that say, "Yeah, I don't mind doing video," and they pop their videos out there. But the videos don't serve them in the way that they're looking to. And for some people, it's about spreading information, ideas. It's about getting new clients, about building their business. There's different strokes for different folks, so it's important to to nail that down. But the other thing that I'm going to be doing with the old Visibility Vibe system, which finally after 14 years was trademarked just earlier this year, one of the things I'm going to do is to bring together those of you who are employees and those of you who are self-employed, but those of you who want little nibble, I talk about juicy nuggets, but you want smaller than bite-sized pieces. You'd like a menu so that you've got something coming up, an important meeting, you're not looking forward to it. How do you communicate? I know. I'll watch this 3-minute video, 2-minute video, 1-minute video. I'll read this quick thing of, to give me ideas of what I can say and something you can dip in and out of. So that will be coming soon, all under the Visibility Vibes banner. There's a lot coming. There's some written content. There's some speaking stuff. There's some recorded stuff, literally page, stage and screen. So I hope you will continue to join me on that journey. But for now, take 2 or 3 minutes just to think about your own motivational menu. How will you pull that together? What will you do with that? How will you have that serve you more? That's it. Until the next video, bye for now.